The brass dial on the main filtration tank is slightly out of alignment. A soft vibration moves through the trench floor. Slow, steady, but unfamiliar. Thrum. The sound is faint, barely touching the water. But it does not belong. Vane stands in the center of the deep-sea habitat. The iron walls hum quietly with the steady rhythm of the life support engines. A faint blue glow filters through the thick glass window. Far away from the distant vents below, the filtration system needs balance. Inside the glass tube, the luminous ink has grown thin, pale and fading. It is no longer enough. A new harvest is required. From the ancient shells beyond the ridge. Vane turns away from the panel. His heavy boots move softly across the metal floor. Slow, distant, and steady. The heavy iron door of the airlock stands open. Small droplets of condensation run slowly down the curved metal walls, pooling in the grated floor. Vane steps forward into the narrow, cylindrical chamber. His thick canvas diving suit is stiff, lined with layers of insulated fabric and weighted lead pads. Each step produces a dull, resonant clanking sound that echoes briefly against the iron. He reaches up to the heavy brass helmet resting on a reinforced wall bracket. He lifts it with both hands, the metal unyielding against his thick, rubberized gloves. The airlock is lit by a single amber bulb, encased in a thick, caged glass fixture. It casts long, wavering shadows across the riveted walls and the array of mechanical valves. He lowers the helmet over his head. The heavy brass collar locks into place with a definitive, heavy metallic grind. He turns the locking wheel on his chest plate, sealing the suit completely. The amber light reflects off his thick, domed visor. The sound of the habitat's distant engines is instantly muffled. It is replaced by the steady, mechanical rhythm of the suit's internal air pump. The rhythmic hiss of oxygen fills the confined space of the helmet. He reaches for the heavy iron valve on the outer door. The brass wheel is large, turning slowly under the grip of his gloved hands. The gears inside the heavy door engage with a low rumble. Water begins to seep into the chamber from the outer seams. It rises slowly around his heavy boots. Dark and freezing cold. The water climbs his legs, pressing its heavy weight against the thick canvas of the suit. He stands motionless as the water level reaches his chest, then overtakes his visor. The amber bulb above becomes a blurry, glowing, distorted orb. The pressure holds steady against the glass. The outer door swings open, revealing the absolute blackness of the abyssal trench. The cold ocean rushes in completely, neutralizing the pressure entirely. The exterior platform is a simple grating suspended above the silty floor of the trench. Vane steps out into the open water. His heavy boots touch the metal with a muted, distant sound. He reaches down to his thick leather belt and unhooks a heavy, brass-cased lantern. He turns the dial on the side. A soft, steady beam of warm yellow light pierces the deep ocean gloom. The light catches thousands of tiny, floating particulates, drifting lazily in the cold water. They look like snow falling endlessly in a sunless sky. He walks to the edge of the platform and steps onto the descending ramp. The metal walkway leads down a steep, rocky incline into the deeper parts of the canyon. With each step, his weighted boots sink slightly into the thick, grey silt that coats the metal.
A long, heavy tether unspools from the side of the habitat, trailing behind him like a dark serpent. It clicks rhythmically as the internal gears release more line. The water here is dense, heavy with the incredible weight of the ocean above. Moving requires slow, deliberate effort. He leans forward slightly, pushing against the invisible resistance of the deep currents.
The only sounds are the mechanical hiss of his air supply and the dull crunch of his boots on the sediment. The yellow beam of his lantern sweeps slowly from left to right. It reveals jagged outcroppings of black basalt and patches of pale, stringy seagrass swaying gently. He walks further down the slope, leaving the dim halo of the habitat's lights behind. The trench walls rise up on either side, vanishing into the darkness
above. The deep waters remain silent. The slow rhythm of his walking becomes a steady metronome in the vast, empty dark. The slope levels out into a wide, flat basin, covered in a thick layer of untouched silt. Rising from the ocean floor are massive spiral structures. They are colossal fossilized nautilus shells, some towering 20 feet into the dark water. Their surfaces are pale, porous, and covered in deep ridges and intricate patterns left by time. Vane walks slowly among them, his lantern beam washing over the ancient calcium curves. The water here is completely still, untouched by the currents that move higher up in the trench. He approaches the nearest shell, a massive structure leaning slightly to one side. Deep within the spiral of the ancient shell, a faint bioluminescent blue glow pulses slowly. It is the rare Abyssal ink, gathering in the hollow chambers over centuries. The glow is soft, rhythmic, casting a spectral light across the grey silt of the ocean floor. Vane moves deeper into the field of shells. The structures grow larger and more numerous, forming a strange, silent forest of stone spirals. He navigates carefully, ensuring his tether does not snag on the jagged edges of the broken shells. The light from his brass lantern mixes with the ethereal blue glows of the ink. The heavy canvas of his suit brushes against a calcified ridge, sending up a slow cloud of dust. The dust hangs in the water, illuminated by the intersecting lights. He continues walking, scanning the glowing hollows for the specific hue that indicates maximum density. The blue light fades into the dark. The sheer size of the ancient shells dwarfs his heavy, plodding figure. Beyond the first cluster of shells, a dense cloud of suspended silt hangs in the water. It is a slow-moving underwater fog, created by a distant thermal vent, gently stirring the ocean floor. Vane steps into the drift. The visibility drops immediately. The yellow beam of his lantern cutting only a few feet ahead. The floating particles reflect the light, creating a blinding wall of tiny golden specks. He relies on the tension of his tether and the slow, upward incline of the terrain to maintain his bearing. The thick canvas of his suit moves through the particulate cloud, with a soft, brushing resistance. He holds the lantern close to his brass chest plate, casting a small dome of visibility around him.
Huge, shadowy shapes loom in the fog. More fossilized shells. Their massive forms obscured by the thick water. He passes a towering structure, its surface completely hidden, revealed only by a faint, glowing blue crack near its base. He steps carefully, testing the ground with each weighted boot before committing his full weight. The silt here is deeper, reaching almost to his knees. The slow, rhythmic, mechanical breathing of his air pump is the only sound in the isolated void. He moves forward, step by step, an armored figure navigating an ocean of suspended dust. The thick cloud shifts endlessly around him, stirred by the motion of his passing. He pauses, letting the water settle momentarily. Checking the slow sway of his tether line. The deep waters remain silent. The slow march through the obscured terrain continues without urgency. The silt cloud begins to thin, revealing a localized clearing near the edge of a deep fissure. In the center of the clearing rests a singularly massive shell. It is pristine, untouched by the fractures that mark the others. From its open, spiraling mouth, a thick, viscous fluid is slowly seeping out. It is the deep blue ink, heavy and highly concentrated. The fluid does not dissipate into the water. It clings to the ridges of the shell, moving downward in thick, glowing droplets. Vane approaches the giant structure, his boots sinking into the dark sediment. The ambient vibration of the trench floor is stronger here, emanating directly from the fissure below. The shell itself seems to hum with a low, imperceptible resonance, causing the water around it to shimmer slightly. The heavy ink drifts downward. Vane stops a few feet away, hooking his lantern onto a brass ring on his belt. He reaches into a thick canvas pouch at his side and withdraws a long glass and brass siphon. The glass is incredibly thick, designed to withstand the crushing pressure of the abyss. He moves closer, the blue light of the ink reflecting off the curved dome of his visor. The heavy drops of ink hit the silt and form small, glowing blue pools that slowly sink into the mud. He inspects the flow, tracing the path of the luminescent fluid back to the darkest part of the shell's interior. The ink is dense, rich with the mineral properties required for the habitat's filtration system. He prepares the siphon, pulling back the heavy brass plunger to ensure it moves smoothly within the glass cylinder. Vane steps right up to the edge of the ancient shell. He raises the brass and glass siphon, guiding the narrow metal tip toward a thick pooling of the blue ink. The tip breaches the viscous surface of the fluid. He grips the brass handle of the plunger with his thick gloves and pulls back with slow, even force. The mechanism resists, the ink being incredibly dense and heavy. Slowly, the glowing blue fluid is drawn up into the thick glass cylinder of the tool. It fills the chamber, casting a bright, concentrated light against Vane's metal chestplate. He watches the glass carefully, ensuring no surrounding seawater enters the chamber. The process requires steady, unrelenting pressure on the plunger. The heavy ink coils inside the glass, swirling like trapped smoke before settling at the bottom. He fills the siphon entirely. He carefully withdraws the tip from the shell, rotating it slightly to break the thick strand of fluid. He takes a large, empty glass vial from his belt pouch. It is capped with a heavy cork and sealed with wax. He removes the stopper, placing the tip of the siphon into the neck of the vial. He depresses the plunger, forcing the glowing ink into the container. The vial illuminates instantly, becoming a brilliant blue beacon in the dark water. He repeats the process 3 times, drawing the ink from the ancient shell and transferring it. The movements are methodical, dictated by the resistance of the deep water and the heavy equipment. He finally seals the glass vial tightly, twisting a brass locking ring over the stopper. The pressure holds steady against the glass. He places the glowing container securely into a padded, metal-lined pouch on his hip. With the harvest complete, Vane turns away from the resonant shell. He unhooks the yellow lantern from his belt and shines it back toward the slope. The heavy tether line stretches out before him,
disappearing into the dark, drifting silt. He begins the long walk back. His right side is slightly heavier now, weighed down by the dense, glowing ink stored in his hip pouch. He retraces his steps through the localized clearing and back into the thick, suspended fog of particulates.
The upward incline is more demanding. He leans forward, his heavy lead boots digging deeper into the grey sediment to gain traction. The slow, rhythmic, mechanical breathing in his helmet continues, a constant companion in the crushing silence of the deep. He passes the shadowy, towering forms of the fossilized forest once more.
Their faint blue glows are barely visible through the thick water, acting as ghostly waypoints in the dark. The yellow beam of his lantern cuts through the gloom, illuminating the dragging path of his tether. The heavy ink drifts downward. The water resists his upward movement, pressing against the canvas suit with cold, heavy force.
He climbs the rocky slope, his metal boots occasionally scraping against exposed basalt, sending low vibrations through the water. The trench walls begin to narrow again, funneling him back toward the habitat platform. Slowly, a faint amber glow appears in the water above. It is the distant light of the airlock, a solitary beacon in the endless, freezing dark. He continues the slow march, matching his pace to the steady, rotating click of the tether spool pulling him home. Vane stands once again in the center of the deep-sea habitat. The heavy diving suit has been removed and secured to its wall bracket. The interior of the room is warm, filled with the low, comforting hum of the life support engines. He stands before the main filtration tank, holding the thick glass vial of blue ink. The brass dial is still slightly out of alignment. He unseals the brass locking ring on the vial and removes the heavy stopper. He approaches the funnel attached to the primary glass tube of the filtration unit.
He slowly tilts the vial, pouring the thick, glowing liquid into the funnel. The heavy ink drops into the system, mixing with the pale, thin fluid already inside. The color of the tank deepens immediately, changing from a washed-out blue to a rich, luminous indigo. The fluid cycles through the thick glass pipes running along the iron ceiling.
As the dense ink integrates into the system, the mechanical pitch of the engines shifts slightly. settling into a deeper, smoother hum. Vane watches the brass dial on the panel. The needle shudders briefly, then moves slowly back to the center position. The ambient vibration in the metal floor stops entirely. The delicate balance of the habitat's internal pressure is restored. He sets the empty vial down on a metal workbench. The blue light fades into the dark. He turns away from the machinery, walking down the narrow corridor toward the observation window. He looks out into the abyssal trench. The dark water is still. The faint, distant glow of the ancient shells pulses softly in the blackness. Miles below the surface, the work is done. The deep trench remains undisturbed.